All right, folks, it's 1 minute after 12. I'm looking at the gallery view, and we have more than our 25 members who are required for a quorum. So I hereby declare that we have a quorum, and we'll proceed from here. So a couple of ground rules here. This is our annual meeting. It is open to members who pay their dues before November 15, according to the bylaws. And we were very meticulous in making sure that only members got the meeting link, as well as a postcard that we sent out. And many thanks to Christina and Steve Early for helping out on that. So as president, I will preside, preserve order, and enforce the bylaws. And we have 11 seats open. President, first and second vice chair, treasurer, secretary, and then 6 members at large. And as it turns out, at the moment, only the secretary position and the members at large have a contest. However, the floor is open for anyone to make a nomination. So when we come to the particular office in question, I'll ask 3 times for people to make a nomination. And if it turns out that there is no contest, I'll just ask for an election by acclamation. You know, we can all physically raise our hands. And if there is a contest, I will be setting up a poll, which is a feature of Zoom, so that everybody can work. And before we proceed from there, if you would like to speak, raise your blue hand. Simply go to the participants icon and raise your blue hand. Are there any questions or objections at this point?
No.
All right. Hearing none, let's proceed.
I have one question.
Oh, sure, Steve.
It's never been the precedent for the president to run the election. It's always been somebody you designate to run the election. In past years, obviously, it's been Martin Bacall ran our elections for years and years and years. But then Bryan, I think, ran other elections. It usually doesn't happen because you're up for election yourself, even though there's no one running against you. That's not the way it's usually run. Now, of course, we're in strange circumstances completely. So, I mean, I'm just making that point. I mean, you know, if there's no objection, I guess we'll go with this.
Well, you make a good point. There was just so many details to make sure that the meeting was set up properly, the polls were set up, and I overlooked appointing someone to handle the meeting. Well, that's why I ask for objections. If anybody objects, you know, I am a candidate for president, and if anybody objects to me running the meeting, you know, speak up now. Okay, let's go down the list of offices. So the first office is for president. President, as I mentioned, is in charge of presiding over meetings, preserving order, and enforcing the bylaws. At the moment, I'm the only nominee. Is there anyone else who would like to make a nomination for president? Going twice, do we have any nominee for president? And going a third time, is there any nominee for president? Well, based on the lack of response, I'm the only candidate. And I hereby ask everybody here, if you just sort of physically hold your hand up to the camera if you agree that I can, with the election by acclamation. All right. Seeing no objections, let's see. Two people wanted to speak. So Jeremy, go ahead and unmute yourself.
I wasn't speaking. I just, my camera's not working at the location I'm in, so I was raising my hand for the acclamation.
Oh, okay. All right, very good. You're going to have to put up with me for another year. So, but I have high hopes. Looking forward to 2021. All right. Our second position is first vice chair. This is the person who also serves as program chair. And at this point, there's one nominee. It's Sandee Binyon. She has been our first vice chair for the last year and has lined up all of the programs we enjoyed this year in 2020. Is there any other nomination for first vice chair? Going once. Is there a nomination for first vice president? Going twice. Is there a nomination for first vice president? Going 3 times. Hearing none, I will ask the members to raise their hands or raise their blue hands if we should elect Sandee by acclamation. All right, Sandee, you are continuing as our first vice president. Okay, let me see here. Knock some hands. Okay, there we go. Our next position is for second vice president. This position is the membership chair, involved in helping grow our membership and keeping track of the membership database. We have one candidate, and that is incumbent Kathy Ramage-White. Are there any other nominations for second vice chair? Second time, are there any nominations for second vice chair? Third, are there any nominations for second vice chair? Hearing none, I'll ask for a show of hands to elect Kathy Ramage-White by acclamation. All right, so carried. Our next seat is treasurer. At this point, there's one nomination for Steve Linder, who is our current treasurer. So are there any other nominations for the position of treasurer? Second time, any nominations for position of treasurer? And thirdly, any nominations for president from the floor? Seeing none, I'll ask for a show of hands by everybody present to elect Steve Linder by acclamation. All right, Steve, you are elected by acclamation. Now for secretary, we do have a contested election, and that is for between Christina Early, who is a current member at large, and Charlie Verdon, who has been serving as DGT secretary for two years. Jeremy, go ahead, unmute yourself.
Yeah, I just had a question. Are we able to hear from the candidates for this contested race?
Oh, very good. I overlooked that. Charlie, give us 2 minutes and tell us why you should be elected to this position.
I don't think I'll need 2 minutes. I'm happy to continue in this position, but I also believe that Christina has also helped out whenever I was not able to attend a meeting. And I think her attendance on meetings has been more reliable. So I am also happy to see her take the position.
Oh, are you withdrawing your nomination?
Yeah, that sounds fine to me because I think she'd do an excellent job.
All right. Well, that eliminates the need to have a poll. So let me change the view here so everybody can see. Okay. I'm asking.
Do I get to say thank you, Charlie?
Yeah, go right ahead. I'm sorry, Christina. Go ahead and tell us what you have to say.
what I was just prepared to say that that since I've been on the board, that I have worked with the membership list and that I've worked with the MailChimp, and that I'm would like to participate as the secretary to keep all of that going forward. And it's very gracious of Charlie. He's a wonderful person, and that's just very nice of him. And I would like to take that position. I'm willing to do the vote though. I think we're all here for the same reason. Let's get Democrats elected, and let's find out about the resources and the different organizations that are in the Tucson area.
Thank you, Christina. Well, you're the sole candidate, so I'm moving that you are elected by acclamation. Could I just see a show of hands or blue hands if you don't have a picture? All right, Christina, you are elected by acclamation. That brings us to member at large. There are 6 member at large positions. Let's go through in alphabetical order, beginning. So we have 7 candidates and 6 seats. Let's go in alphabetical order by last name. Michael Bryan, please unmute yourself and tell us why you are interested in this position.
Hi, I'm Mike Bryan. Some of you may know the website that I run, blogforarizona.com. Larry is also a contributor and a board member at Blog for Arizona. He asked me to run for the DGT board because of my experience running websites. He'd like me to run the DGT website. I'm also quite familiar with speaker format that the DGT uses. For about 6 years, I ran the local Tucson Drinking Liberally when we were still having guest speakers there. They don't do that anymore, and I'm not involved with them anymore. And those are my bona fides for this particular position.
All right, thank you very much. Next on the list is Jeanne Christie. Jeanne, give us a couple of minutes about why we should vote for you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jeanne Christie. I've been involved with DGT for about 10 years, ever since I started out as a Monday morning front desk volunteer at headquarters, watching people come back from the DGT meetings all bubbly and talking about the speakers. I was really curious, so I ended up going to the meetings, and within a year, I was asked to run for the board. I've been there ever since, and eventually I was given the project of coordinating the DGT annual awards luncheon in the following September. I reached out to fellow board member Jeremy Lasher, and together we created a very successful event and continued to do that for the next 4 years. We organized an event with interesting keynote speakers, well-earned award recipients, a great atmosphere with good food, while keeping it at the most affordable event cost to our guests. Proceeds were donated to get out the vote for the upcoming November elections. For a number of years, I was also the DGT representative to the PCDP Executive Committee. Our Executive Committee spot ended with the current PCDP administration. When Dragon View closed, a few of us, Jeremy, Brian Bickle, and I went out looking for a spot with a private room big enough for us, somewhere in close proximity to I-10 for our Green Valley members, our Oro Valley members, our downtown working members. And we found the Kettle restaurant with owner Sammy Sadi willing to willing to do whatever we wanted or needed. It's unfortunate the way things turned out because we all grew to love that restaurant and Sammy. DGT provides an incredible service to its audience, the Democrats of Greater Tucson. Candidates announce their candidacy at DGT. Every Monday, we present interesting Democratic keynote speakers at our weekly meetings. Larry Bodine has done an incredible job as president throughout this COVID nightmare, and I'm proud to be on his board. I am and have been proud to be part of DGT and its board and would love to continue as a board member. Thanks for your time.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciated that. Next in alphabetical order is Steve Early. Steve, please unmute yourself and tell us about your interest in continuing as a member at large.
My name is Steve Early. I've been going to the Democrats for about 3 years, 2 years as an active paying member. Last year, my wife and I were both approached to join the board because there were openings that needed to be filled. We were more than happy to take that. I was there for the transition when we went from the Dragon View over to the Kettle. When we first went into the Kettle, people were not happy. The food was kind of iffy and the service was more iffy and whatnot. But I developed a quick relationship with Sammy and Katie, and I just went to them, took it upon myself, and I went to them and I told them that the people were unhappy and that we needed to upgrade the food. Sammy upgraded the food. I had not heard a bad thing since about the food that was being served and the pricing and the availability and the service. Katie was doing an excellent job taking care of us. I helped out on the blood drive, and I've helped out on the MailChimp, and I help out whenever I'm asked or if I think I can add something to a project. I enjoy being on the board. I have 100% attendance as far as I remember, and I plan on continuing. And I will continue as a member whether I'm on the board or not. Oh, and I'll also, if we get back to the Kettle, I'll be glad to take over the sound system again. And thank you for your consideration.
Next up is Lee Oler, a longtime Democrats of Greater Tucson member. Lee, tell us about your interest in the member-at-large position.
I was asked if I would be interested in running, and I had kind of thought about it a few months ago, and I thought, well, they're doing a pretty good job. But then I also thought that that's a very nice bunch of people to work with. So I kind of bought my son there. I was interested because it is a good bunch of people to work with. And a little background. I'm a Sierra Club member. I'm a lifetime Sierra Club member. I'm an environmentalist and I'm a Democrat, a progressive Democrat. And I love working on campaigns, and I love working on campaigns that usually win whatever they're running for. I came to Tucson in 1970. The first thing I did was go to a Sierra Club meeting, and Ron Astor was speaking there. If any of you are old enough, Steve Linder just looked like he knew what I was talking about. So I went out with Ron and we campaigned, and he won. And he was a very good supervisor, very environmentally oriented, and that's why the Sierra Club was backing him. Unfortunately, he kind of tipped off his own wagon later on, but you know, that happens. But he was great at the beginning, and so I was happy that my inauguration into politics in Tucson was so nice. And I do volunteer on a lot of political campaigns. My favorite thing to do is walk, knock on doors, drop off lit, and I quit teaching in 2001. And the first thing I did, well, I quit teaching because my friend Gail Hartman was running for city council. And I decided I wanted to help Gail more than 10 minutes after school. So I turned in my resignation and worked for Gail a lot on the campaign. Unfortunately, she didn't win, but it was a great effort, and I enjoyed that a lot. And that's basically one of the big reasons I quit teaching, was so I could do more politics. And I also earlier worked on Dave Yetman's campaign for supervisor. As you know, Dave ran and won, and he also was followed by Raul Grijalva, who was followed by Richard Elias, and I worked on all three of those campaigns, and they were just crackerjack campaigns. I loved working on them. And I could go on and on about campaigns. I went to Socorro, New Mexico when Obama ran the first time, and that was a blast. We walked the streets of Socorro in this little town called, I think it was Magdalena, out to the west. They didn't even have street signs there, but everybody knew everybody, so we got our job done. And so that was a real kick. I loved that. and I do go out of the state and up into the Pine Top area for elections sometimes when they need people up there. And I'm always a volunteer. I never get paid for anything, which is fine. And I just love working on campaigns, and I love DGT because it's the only place where I can go every week and see a room full of Democrats. And I tell you, that's a real kick. I was on the board before, on the DGT board before. That was fine. I see Marilyn Freed's here somewhere, I guess on page 2. But Marilyn, hello. And in 2008, Marilyn and Felicia May and I were all honored by DGT for being outstanding members. This is the thing we got, the plaque, Outstanding Service to DGT, September 7th, 2008. So, say I've been around once on this, and I'm still here. So I really would enjoy working on the board and doing whatever needs to be done. I guess that's it. That covers more than you need to know about me. And if anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer them if they're very short.
All right. Thanks very much for that, Lee.
Oh, you're entirely welcome.
Next up is Ellen Parrish.
I'm new to Tucson, so unlike the rest of you, I see that all of you have been involved with the Democrats of Greater Tucson for some time. I keep busy. I moved here in April, and I've been on citizen advisory boards in Salt Lake City, Utah, for 8 years each time. So I'm new. I mean, I'm very familiar with Robert's rules, and I just like to keep busy. And I'm also a crack writer and a graphic designer. And even if I need to get more experience with your organization, that's fine. I'm happy to volunteer. But I just think I have a lot to offer and some fresh ideas, and I would love to be part of the cause. But either way, I'm a newbie. So if you don't want a newbie, that's cool. That's all.
All right, Ellen, thanks very much for that. And closing out the list of candidates is Tony Zinman. Tony, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Tony Zinman. I've been on the board for 3 years, and I really enjoy it. I feel it's kind of one of the things I can do to contribute to help get Democrats elected. It's been a real fulfilling experience, and I hope to continue that. A little bit about myself. My day job, I'm a juvenile public defender. As far as my experience, I consider myself a radical moderate. I think that we need to, my thing is we're a big tent party, but we need to focus on what's going to win us elections. I've been very involved in my life. I volunteered for every presidential campaign since I was 17 years old and drove in the press motorcade for Walter Mondale in Los Angeles. Ran for State House of Representatives in Wenatchee, Washington State in 2004. And then, when I moved to Tucson in 2007, I was a volunteer up until, I worked my buns off for Hillary. And then when the dark days started, and 4 years ago, I felt like I really had to step it up. So I formed a group called Tucson Jews for Justice. The idea to get progressive Jewish community out to protest, and get us out as part of the resistance. And I've organized and been part of protests and rallies for the last 4 years. Worked with Indivisible, organizing some things, and I hope to continue. I know that we did great this year. We turned Arizona blue.
Yay!
With Joe Biden and Mark Kelly, we have 2 senators, but still have a lot of work to do. Got a governor election coming up in 2 years, and we came close with the legislature, but we have to turn it blue. So I hope to be part of that and on DGT.
All right. And because I'm working with multiple pages here, I overlooked number one person on the list of candidates in alphabetical order, and that is Susie Anderson. Your interest in running for, again, for member at large.
Well, I don't have the bona fides that a lot of these people do, but I have a great deal of enthusiasm and I love working, as Lee said, with this group of people. And Ellen, you know what kind of people we have on the board. Larry leading us, I think he's done a great job, and I love participating with whatever task is at hand. And I really appreciate being there, but let's see what the election gives us.
All right, so we have 7 candidates for 6 positions. I'm going to launch the poll in which you can vote. As the Zoom host of this meeting, I don't have a vote. So
I just have one question. Did you ask for any nominees from the floor?
Oh, good point. Any nominees from the floor?
Just in case.
Good point. Going the second time, would anybody else like to nominate themselves or someone else? Third time, would anybody like to nominate themselves for member at large? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to launch the poll for you to vote. And as I mentioned, if there's a tie, it's my job to cast the tie-breaking vote. So you should see the poll in front of you. Please go ahead and make your selections.
Larry, it seems like the poll only allows us to choose one person.
Oh,
Larry,
yes.
what if you did a vote for each person singular and then add up the votes at the end?
All right, that's an option. Let me keep that in mind. Let me just see if I can't get this to work. Everyone in favor of Susie Anderson being on the board? Give it another 15 seconds or so. Let's put on the next one. Absolutely. All right, another one now.
And could everyone please mute themselves because there's a lot of background noise.
So we're now casting votes for Michael Bryan as member at large. Do not vote where it says do not vote. All right, any more votes? Okay, I'm going to end that poll. So votes for Jeanne Christie. All right. We are voting for Steve Early for member at large. All right, I'm going to end the polling for Steve Early. All right, we're now voting for Lee Oler for member at large.
Larry?
Yes.
Are we still only supposed to vote for one of this whole list you're posting?
Yes.
Or just, huh?
Yes, just vote for one, or, you know, if you're not in support of Lee Oler, just click vote no.
I think the question she was asking, Larry, is are we still supposed to vote for 6 of the 7 names you're giving us? You're just
no. You should just be seeing
right.
one.
Right, but there will be 7 distinct votes. We're supposed to vote for these 6 people of those 7 that we would like to see on the board, not for only one of these 7 votes, correct?
Correct. And what I've been doing is keeping track of the number of votes for each candidate. I'm sorry we have to use this method, but it's the only one that seems to work. And
well, then I have to withdraw most of my votes. You see what I'm saying? I started voting for whatever name came up that I approved of, not just skipping the votes until I get to the one I wanted most to vote for. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, at this point, we have
So,
Lee and two other people to go through.
Yeah, but she didn't do anything wrong. If she
No.
likes all the people.
She's doing it right.
Fine. Yeah,
You vote for no more than 6.
right. So just skip one.
Right.
oh,
Or
okay.
skip.
Yeah, just skip one.
The only
got it.
flaw in this is that you can vote for all 7 if you felt like it, because there'll be no way to check that. That's
Well, then-
But you shouldn't do it.
no, you shouldn't, but I said it's possible. In other balloting, we'd be able to, when I've done this in the past, if there was a ballot with 7 names and I could only vote for 6, if a ballot came in with all 7 checked, that ballot was thrown out.
Right.
But
Right.
you can vote for only 1 or 3 or 5.
Oh,
whatever you want.
absolutely. Absolutely.
We're on the honor system here.
Yes, Tony,
Pretty
exactly.
much. We're all
We are
Democrats,
Honest
so we're
Democrats.
doing the best we can. All right, I'm going to close the poll for Lee Oler. Got the poll ready for Ellen Parrish. Let me just find her. Okay, so I'm launching poll for Ellen Parrish. You can vote yes or no on Ellen Parrish. All right, closing the polls for Ellen Parrish. All right, this is our final member at large poll for Tony Zinman. Jeremy, you've got your hand up. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yeah, just with it approaching the hour mark, will we be able to reschedule the speaker? I was really hoping to hear from them, and I unfortunately had to go and help finish turning in the registrations here in Georgia.
Yeah, well, that's important. We don't want to keep you from that. As much as I'd love to hear from our speaker, I think we'll have to find another date because this went on longer than I expected. Okay. Well, in looking at the list, we have a tie for, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we have a tie between Steve Early and Ellen Parrish. Both got the same number of votes. I'm gonna give the multiple choice one more try. I don't know why that doesn't work, but we'll give it a shot here. Here we go. Kindly vote for 1. Give it another few seconds. All right, I'm going to end the polling and share the results. So we can see that Steve Early is the successful candidate, and that completes our voting for officers and members at large. And Ellen, I want to thank you very much for your contribution and joining and participating by running for office. You have a lot of skills that I want to make use of, so you'll be hearing from us.
That's just great. I just figured I'd give it a wing-ding try.
Absolutely. All right, folks, I really apologize for the screw ups. I got to tell you, I practiced with these polls over and over and thought I had it down pat, but I did not, and I appreciate your patience. And with that, does anyone have anything to add for the good of the order?
Yes. Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. Someone wanted to speak?
I think you should suggest to Zoom that they fix this. This sounds like a flaw in Zoom in the polling, that you ought to be able to vote for more than one thing.
One thing, just announce who's speaking next week, and also how people can, since we have all members here, how people can rejoin for 2021.
All right, good question. Let me just share my screen real quickly and I'll show you what we've got. All right, here you see the home page of Democrats of Greater Tucson. It would be just fabulous if you folks would get familiar with it. And you see up here in the right-hand corner where it says pay dues. So to rejoin and pay your dues for 2021, you can do so now. Simply click on the link and you will be able to renew. If you don't want to do it online, let me call your attention to, let's see here. You can also mail a check to Post Office Box 41573 here in Tucson. Post Office Box 41573. Send a check for $20. And going now to our events. Our next speaker is State Senator Victoria Steele. She was re-elected to the State Senate in Legislative District 9. Be sure to get her early. There's always a really nice crowd for State Senator Victoria Steele. Okay.
So Larry?
Yes.
Could you please give us all the names of the people who will be on our board?
Yes. So the elected candidates include myself for president, Sandee Binyon for first vice president and program chair, Kathy Ramage-White for second vice chair and membership chair. Treasurer is Steve Linder, and Christina Early is the secretary. Yes, that's right. Member at large, we have Susie Anderson, already a member at large. Mike Bryan, our newest member. Jeanne Christie, Steve Early, Lee Oler, who joins the board, and Tony Zinman, who's already a member. And I will send out an email to everybody announcing our next speaker and reporting the results.
And also for all those new board members, we will be having a board meeting because next Monday is the second Monday of the month. And so we will be having a board meeting after our scheduled meeting next week.
That's right. Thanks very much. And one of the things we'll have to decide is our board retreat, which will take place after December 14. And so we have 21 days to hold that retreat. And, you know, last time we met and saw each other face to face, so it looks like it will be on Zoom. But it's the best we can do, and I think we're doing okay. And I look forward to another year with Democrats of Greater Tucson. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. Thank you for voting, and thank you for coming and joining.
Hey, Larry, this is Jeremy real quick. If anybody looks in the chat section, I shared a Secure Act Blue contribution page. That is for the Georgia Democratic Party. To be in Georgia right now, I am not working for the Democratic Party here, but I am working for Democratic Senate candidates. If you are looking for a place to donate this year to try and help us take back the Senate, the Georgia Democratic Party would be the best place that I've seen since I've been on the ground here for the last month.
Really?
They've got a lot of volunteers, and a lot of folks here are people who would work 2 and 3 jobs and are still taking time away from their families and their friends during this holiday season to come out and make phone calls and to do lit drops. So donations directly to the county or to the state party, they're going and sending out things like pizza to folks at the houses and making sure that folks have the personal protective gear that they need to be able to go out and reach out to voters. So if you are looking for a place to donate, there's a lot of good organizations. I'm not working directly with them. but I've seen the work they're doing, and they're helping a lot of the community here to make sure we can get this vote out.
Thanks very much, Jeremy. I really appreciate that. The Senate election is very important. We have to get 2 Democratic wins, or otherwise the
Mitch McConnell,
Mitch McConnell will just block everything that Biden introduces, and we'll have 4 more years of stalemate. So as I mentioned before, I'm writing letters to voters, and I got my list in the form letters by email, and going to send them out today or tomorrow. And I would encourage everybody else to do what you can. You know, the majority of the Senate is at stake, and it's important that the 2 Democrats get elected.
agreed.
Anything else for the good of the order?
Peace
All
and
right.
love.
Hearing none, I want to thank you all for attending and tolerating this very annoying election, but we got it done, you know, and we will see you at the next meeting with Victoria Steele. So goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everyone.